Hey everyone, welcome back to another Wealthsimple portfolio update video. The portfolio is currently sitting at $219,608.86 on a total all-time gain of $78,845.40, or about 56% all-time. Feels like every week that goes by, the portfolio is hitting new all-time highs. Of course, this is another new all-time high here in the video series, up about $4,000 from last video. And actually at one point this week, we can see here, just above my cursor to the left, I was up at about $222,000 in the portfolio. The portfolio did fall a bit towards the end of the week. And as always, in this week's video, I am going to be covering all of my account values, like my TFSA and RRSP, all the holdings within my different accounts, and lastly, I will be covering when I expect to hit a $1 million portfolio and also a $1 million TFSA, so stay tuned for that. Most of you who watch my videos are not yet subscribed, so be sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you are enjoying. I'm trying to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I know we can do it. And also be sure to drop a like down below, help spread the video to more investors like yourself. All right, so first things first is the TFSA here. It is sitting at $74,798.98. It saw a total gain of about $700 or 1% this week. As for the transactions in this account, it just had all of my reoccurring buys. So starting with a $75 buy of VFV or the S&P 500, a $25 buy of QQC.F and or the NASDAQ 100, and lastly a $50 buy of FBTC, which is a Bitcoin ETF. Next account here is my RRSP. It's at $65,493.61, and this account saw a $600 gain or just under 1% gain this week. Just like the TFSA, just reoccurring buys here in the RRSP, starting with $125 into VOO or the S&P 500, $75 into SCHD, and lastly $50 into, of course, FBTC, which is again a Bitcoin ETF. My non-registered account this week is sitting at $17,197.98. This account saw a $242 gain or 1.43% gain. And of course, no transactions in this account this week. I always like to clarify, I've only ever put money into this account when my TFSA and RRSP are maxed, which I have not maxed them for the year 2025 yet. So yeah, that is why there is money in here. The crypto account went a little wild today. It's at $44,253.35. Although it is only up about $1,100 or 2.62%. It was up at one point to, I think it was over $47,000 at one time here. It's not reflecting here on the chart, but I'm almost positive it did hit $47,000 this week, which is the highest the crypto account has ever been. And for the transactions in the crypto account, I just had $70 of Bitcoin. I buy $10 of Bitcoin every single day. Last account here is my high interest checking account. I've got $17,859.22 here in this account. And this week I deposited about $1,200 and had a $80 transfer over to the crypto account to, of course, fund some Bitcoin purchases. This is the part of the video if you want to pause and check out any of my individual holdings as I go through them here, feel free to do so. I'm just going to quickly run through these this week. Starting here with my ETFs, I'm going to just go over the total value. Over here on the far right of the chart, you can see the total all-time return. If you want to read that out yourself, feel free. But anyways, I have about $4,200 in FBTC, $8,800 in HXQ, $3,800 in QQC.F, $7,500 USD in SCHD, $32,000 in VFV, $19,800 USD in VOO, and lastly $15,200 in XEQT. Next up is all my stock holdings. Again, I'm just going to go over the total value. You can read out the all-time returns yourself. Starting with Affirm, I've got $1,800 USD worth. Then I have $8,888. That's actually really satisfying. $8,800 worth of AMD, $1,700 USD of CrowdStrike, just $300 worth of Enphase USD, $3,200 USD of Cloudflare, $3,500 worth of Palantir USD, $350 USD of PayPal, almost $6,000 worth of Shopify, 12,000 USD of Tesla, 2,300 USD of TTD, and lastly, $760 USD worth of XYZ. Now, lastly, here is my crypto. I have $1,100 of Cardano, $18,600 of Bitcoin, $150 of Cody, about $150 worth of Doge, $1,200 of Polkadot, almost $13,000 worth of Ethereum, $50 of KNC, $4,700 of Chainlink, $200 of Decentraland, almost $1,200 of Polygon, $3,400 of Solana, and lastly, just over $200 of XRP. Now, let's talk about when I expect to hit a $1 million portfolio. This is a fun exercise I like to do here and there. I don't know if any of you are watching have ever played with a compound interest calculator. I'll leave a link to the one I'm using today down in the video description, but this is a super fun tool to play around with. So there are tons of variables to this. So I'm gonna kind of run on the more conservative side here. I'll also do like a really bullish side as well through these estimates. So I'm just gonna go ahead and enter in a initial investment, which I'm gonna do my total portfolio value of $219,600. We'll just call it that, flat even. And now we're gonna enter a monthly contribution. I think for 2025, I'm averaging about $750 here or there. Maybe it's like closer to 1,000, but just to be conservative, I'm going to put $750 for monthly contributions. And for length of time in years, I'm only 27 if you did not know, so I'm gonna put 40 years. This doesn't mean I'm gonna retire when I'm 67, but it'll just lay out a very long time frame, which is also a realistic time frame as well. I mean, some people do retire when they are 67. And I will also put a estimated interest rate of 10%. This is what the S&P historically has returned, and my portfolio is more aggressive than the S&P. Like, I have a ton of very risk-on individual assets like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like Tesla, like AMD. So my portfolio could very well outperform a 10% rate of return over the long term if I continue to stay in very high-risk assets. But I will probably phase out of them as I get a bit older, but since I'm only 27, I don't mind very, very high risk. But anyways, I'm gonna be kind of conservative here and do like 10% is a baseline, and for interest rate variance, I'm gonna leave that at 0 for now. And if we hit calculate, drum roll, in 40 years, let's zoom in on this, in 40 years, I will have $13,922,265.52. That's kind of a crazy number to look at for sure, considering like I'm not even at $250,000 yet. But I will cover why this isn't as substantial as you may think. Of course, there is inflation, and I will show you an inflation adjusted amount shortly. But let's pop down to the chart here and check out what the portfolio values are expected to be. So year 0, this would be today, $219,600. And as we keep going here, in 1 year, it's projecting at a 10% return that my portfolio would be $250,000 or $250,000. So that's pretty cool. In a year's time, I could expect to hit $250,000 on the portfolio. But as we keep rolling up here, we're getting close to 300,000. By year 3, we're over 300,000. By year 5, we're at 400,000. By year 7, we're at $500,000, which is crazy. 7 years out, time flies. So to be at $500,000 in just 7 years is pretty insane. But if we keep going here, I can expect in the ballpark of 13 or 14 years to hit a portfolio value of $1 million. We'll say 14 years. So in 14 years, I would be at $1,085,705.48. That's insane. In 14 years' time, that would put me at the ripe age of 41 years old. And of course, with compound interest, as you keep going down the line here, like to go from $1 million to $2 million is like 6 years. And then to go from $2 million to $3 million is like, how many years is that? 20, that's like 4 years. Compound interest is absolutely insane. Like, the fact that when I'm age 67, I could have $14 million is absurd. Now, you may be asking, what is $1,085,000 going to be worth in 14 years' time? Well, I went ahead and typed this into ChatGPT here. So basically, if it was 3% inflation, which is relatively high over 14 years, my $1,085,000 would equal about $677,000 in today's buying power. Now, if inflation is 2.5%, it would be closer to about $770K. This would be my closer target here, 2.5% for inflation, but anything can happen. Pandemics can happen. So to hit a 3%, we're probably going to have some black swan events, which could happen. I mean, who knows? Now, what about this $14 million number in 40 years? Like, obviously, $14 million in today's money is a lot of money, but in 40 years, inflation is going to eat away at a lot of that. So I typed in the same question over in ChatGPT. What about $14 million in the year 2065? This is going to be the equivalent of $6.34 million in today's money at a 2% inflation rate. At 2.5%, it's $5.21 million, and 3% is only worth $4.29 million in today's money. Now, if you ask me, would I rather have $4.29 million in 40 years or have $0 and not invest? And I'm always going to take the $4.29 million in 40 years than not investing ever. Now, let's run a couple more calculations here. Obviously, at a 10% annual yield, that is looking pretty bearish into the future. So let's change this estimated interest rate down to 7%. Again, this is still kind of conservative, but this will change the numbers drastically. As you can see here, down to $5 million in 40 years. And I wouldn't expect to hit $1 million until year 18, so 4 extra years. Now, let's go absolutely worst case and do a 5% estimated interest rate. I mean, inflation would be like half of this pretty much. But still, either way, if we look down here at the chart, $2.6 million in 40 years or $1 million mark in 23 years. So the range that I could expect to hit a $1 million portfolio could be anywhere between 14 years and 23 years. Now, anything can happen. We could have like a roaring 20s and 30s, and I could hit $1 million in 5 years. You never know. Bitcoin could do some crazy things. It hits like 10 million a coin, and I like to say pretty optimistic, but as a pretty good ballpark, I like 14 years to 23 years. Now, I did also say I'm going to run this same exercise for my TFSA. Of course, TFSAs are going to be very, very important in the future for retirement. So let's change the numbers up a bit here. So my initial investment, I'm keeping at $75,000 for my total TFSA value right now. I'll do a $600 monthly contribution. We'll keep the length of time to 40 years, and we'll up the estimated interest rate to 10%. I feel like that's a very conservative number. And we'll calculate this. So in 40 years, my TFSA could be worth $6.5 million, and my TFSA could hit $1 million value in 21 years when I am 48. One last time, I would just like to reiterate that anything can happen. There can be massive black swan events that completely change the course of the future. So nothing is set in stone here, but this is just a fun exercise that I recommend everyone watching here goes and tries out for themselves, just to get a ballpark answer for when you could hit certain numbers within your own portfolio. But everybody, that is going to do it for this week's portfolio update video. I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to drop a like down below. Let's break 100 on this one. And if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, trying to hit 5,000 by the end of 2025. And yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.